I can tell by the group, there are a lot of people here that have already invested in Momentum 22, and we appreciate you for that. And if you're here and you haven't invested already, and we're going to have some exciting news later, but I hope you come here to learn about it. And Gary Farlow is going to tell us about the program of work and explain exactly what Momentum 22 means. Gary.
Thank you, Mike. First of all, let me thank everybody for being here. This is a big night for us. It's been a lot of work so far, and I've been really, really pleased with the results we've been getting. You'll be hearing a little bit more about that very shortly. But wanted to just talk for a few minutes about kind of how we got where we are and where we're intending to go from here. A lot of this, many of you have contributed to our past campaigns, and that's what's kind of gotten us to where we are in this community. I also have to remember to hit the slides here. When we talk about the campaign that we're doing now, this is kind of the third campaign that we've done since about 2002. In 2002, we raised, I think, about $1.5 million, thereabouts. And then in 2008, we did another campaign, raised about $1.3 million, and that was in the midst of the recession. So we've done pretty well. We've stretched the money as far as we can stretch it. We've given you 10 years since the last time we did this. So we're hoping we haven't been too much of a burden when it comes to asking you for the kind of funds that help us get where we are today in this community. And before I talk too much about some of these numbers you're going to see throughout these presentations, let me just say this, that one of the visits we made, we were talking about all these accomplishments. And we were reminded that there were a lot of people involved in this. So we don't want to give the impression that this was all the chamber. I've said many times in front of a lot of different audiences, particularly when we were talking about like the Vocker project and some of those big ones, Keeping Whirlpool here, Amazon, all those kind of projects. Nobody can do those things by themselves, including us. We've got very talented staff, and we are kind of the point people very frequently for projects like that. But as I've said before, it takes hundreds of people, thousands of hours to do the kind of things that this community's done over the last 10 years to get you to those numbers. And I'm not, most of you have heard some of this before if you've been through the feasibility study and as we've done our visits, so I'm not going to read all these numbers to you, but it's been pretty impressive. And we are the envy of a lot of communities around the state and around the Southeast for what's been going on in Cleveland. We get calls all the time about, what are you guys doing over there? How did you do that? Can you come talk to our group about what you're doing? So we're not bragging, but as I think Joe Namath said, it ain't bragging if it's the truth. So you never know. But we have had a very successful community, and it has taken a lot of people working with us, the county commission, city council, TVA. I mean, I could go on and talk about all the people that have been involved in all of these projects, but it does take a lot of people to do that. As you can see, we look at ourselves and our vision as we are a public-private approach to economic development, and it does take a lot of players in that. We get funding from the city and the county, we get lodging tax from the county, the city's been very helpful. But a lot of what has enabled us to do what we've been doing is the private sector support. And that's where you guys come in, and that's what we really appreciate what you've done so far. And as it says up there, we're trying to maintain the momentum that we've got. We've come a long way. We've done very well. It's easy to get complacent sometimes when you've had the kind of success this community has had. But we do have a momentum, and you can't just sit back and relax. One of my former board members in another community used to say that even if you're on the right track, you can still get run over if you sit still. So we do need to keep moving on that track. We're also looking at enhancing job growth, increasing the tax base. I mean, the goal of economic development is to raise the standard of living in the community. That's what we're all about. So engaging business leaders, collaborating with a lot of people, building your supply chains and building your workforce, that's what we're all about. This microphone keeps going kind of in and out.
No, you're good.
We're good? Okay, so we will continue to do the kind of recruiting that we've done, but the real emphasis is workforce right now. And we'll talk about a little bit more about that in a second. The capital campaign evolution, the way we started all this, we started talking about this a little over a year ago, back in January, first quarter. We started looking at hiring a consulting firm. We ended up with Convergent. They've done an outstanding job for us. The first thing that we did was come up with kind of what's our plan of work. We're already doing a lot of things well, but we need to continue doing that. We're looking at other new ways that this community can excel and can prosper. We did so we came up with a program of work, and then we went out and did a feasibility study. Many of you in this room were the ones that helped us with that feasibility study. And I think we started out with about a $2.5 million goal. And after going through the feasibility study and looking at the different items that we have in there, looking at all the things that are going on, as most of you know, some of you are painfully aware of, there are a lot of other campaigns going on in this area, not just here in Cleveland, but Chattanooga on a regional level, all those kind of things. So we know that you're getting tapped a lot. But we'd like to think that we've been pretty frugal with your money and that you're obviously supporting that, because you'll see those numbers in a few minutes. So went through the feasibility study, pared it down to a goal. We started with $2.5 million. We pared that down to about $1.6 million. It looks like we're well on our way to making that, maybe even a little bit more. And if we make more, then we can do more. So we'll be looking at that soon as well. The board approved the campaign in April. Again, with that funding goal between $1.5 million and $1.7 million, we kind of settled on $1.6 million. Public sector funding we've already got in place. That's the lodging tax and the city's contributions, which are significant. They support pretty much the economic development and tourism functions that we have. The chamber does a lot of the other stuff. But those monies do pretty well from an operating standpoint. They pay salaries and overhead and some of those programs. But we've got to eat this thing, don't you? So anyhow, but our funding has been pretty good on that front. But you can't do the kind of things that we do without supplemental funding. That's what this is all about. So we are looking now at the private sector piece of that. That will be running until about November. And hopefully we will have reached our goal by then. Here's the initiatives that we've started looking at. And many of these things are things that we've been doing for years. The workforce development stuff we've been doing we get recognized for this all over the state. We're frequently asked to go and speak about our workforce programs. The Your Skills, Your Future initiative has been getting very good results. We're already getting calls from adjoining counties asking how they can partner with us on that. I guess I should get to that. Oh, I'm sorry. I was already there.
I was ahead of you.
Oh, so are you doing this then? Okay. That's magic. You know, man in charge, woman that really knows what's going on. So I'm just going to put that down and just hold this from my other end. Good. So workforce development, that's the key thing that we're looking at doing this year. As you all know, we've been hovering right around 3% unemployment. We can't sustain the kind of growth we've had unless we start working on the workforce. So we've got lots and lots of programs for that. As I said, Your Skills, Your Future has been the big ticket item. We hope to be able to continue that for the next several years. I got a call this morning from a friend of mine that works for an ED organization in West Tennessee asking about this program and how they might be able to partner with us, or at least maybe subscribe. So we're looking at some things that we can take this maybe even statewide at some point. But it is getting a lot of attention. And we'll be doing a lot of other things on the workforce. We're looking at things with the Pius Center, trying to see how we partner with them, looking at things with the incubator. That kind of relates into the entrepreneurial development part of this. We've had a number of conversations with the business school at Lee, the Small Business Development Center, the incubator over at Cleveland State, and looking at how can we as a chamber impact the development of new business, and particularly small business. So we're looking at developing an entrepreneurial strategy. So part of the plan here is to do plans, and you'll hear more about that in a minute. But the entrepreneurial development side of it is essentially looking at how do we grow our own and help those businesses succeed and grow themselves, because that's a lot of what your economy is growth of those existing companies. So entrepreneurial development is a huge issue. Buy local, that was one that we had initially a much bigger budget, but as we talked to people, they felt like maybe that one didn't need quite as much emphasis. So we kind of pared that back a little. We still, I mean, the chamber is always about buy local, so we'll continue to do that. We just may be doing that with a little bit smaller budget. Tourism-based economic development is one that we got a really good response on. The emphasis in that will, along with all the other stuff that Melissa Woody does, is we're talking about product development. And the focus will be on sports tourism. If any of you have kids, or if you've been on a team that traveled or had kids that did that, there's a lot of adults in this room that apparently are playing volleyball all over the place. Where's Kevin Moore? He's pickleball, volleyball. Pick a sport. There's a tournament for that. So one of the things we're going to be looking at is working with our local parks and recreation departments and others to try to figure out how do we bring that kind of money into this community. I mean, our daughter played competitive softball. I know how much I spent. Could have put her through Harvard for the amount of money we spent on softball tournaments. But that's a really good way to generate revenue in the community, so we'll be talking about that. Chamber upgrades, you know, like everybody else in your business, you have to invest in your systems and your buildings and your facilities. We need to do the same thing. We're not talking about any kind of major expansion, but we do need to be doing some things long-term just to keep the facilities and equipment and the technologies that we have at the chamber upgraded. And then economic and community development. We're involved already on a number of fronts with the city, the county, other organizations on a regional level. You know, we're very involved with Thrive 2055, Greater Economic Partnership, which operates out of the chamber in Chattanooga with a regional initiative for economic development. We're also doing a lot of work with some local organizations like City Fields, Refuge, organizations like that. That's where we're trying to find the ways that the chamber can be effective in doing things like downtown redevelopment. What is our role in doing downtown redevelopment? Is there a way to get maybe a hotel downtown, a conference facility in Cleveland that's been on our books for more than 30 years, trying to get a civic center / conference center in Cleveland. So those are the kind of things that this capital campaign will be funding. We really appreciate the support we've gotten so far. And now we're up to the next slide. This is what we hope to do. And this is, we didn't just pick numbers out of the air. This is based on things like the new Spring Branch Industrial Park, looking at how many square feet we can get in that park in terms of new industry. We've had tremendous success with expansion of existing companies in this town. Several of those companies are sitting in this room, and you can't do what this community's done without paying attention to your existing companies. That's why workforce has gotten to be such a big issue for us. So these are the kind of jobs, the expansions we're looking at, average wages, earnings, and then capital investment. I mean, if you look over that last 10 years, $3.5 billion in new investment, and of course 2.5 of that was Vocker, but even if you took them out of the equation, $1 billion is not too shabby for a community this size. So we're excited about that. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Mike, and you'll hear about some of the other exciting things that are going on. Thank you.
As you saw, Momentum 22 campaign is designed to fulfill the Chamber's vision of providing an environment that enables existing and new businesses to grow and thrive here. As a result of their efforts in partnership with the public sector, all economic votes in the county will be raised. Our county is blessed with great transportation, inexpensive real estate, lower taxes, good schools, and a solid work ethic. It's a great place to raise a family. The quality of life is outstanding. Companies like ours do benefit directly when thousands of new jobs come to the area through expansions and/or recruiting. We benefit indirectly longer term by improved quality of life and more and better commercial and residential construction. I'm proud to help lead this exciting effort and look forward to improving our community in collaboration with you. The Momentum 22 campaign will support the Chamber's program of work, which Gary just showed us. It's crucial to the success of existing employers and new employers. Workforce development is trained, skilled, and willing workforce is a primary concern of employers in this information age of constant change in advanced manufacturing. First Tennessee supports the Chamber as a critical facilitator in developing Cleveland Bradley's human capital. The Chamber, by working with employers and educational providers, plans to help attract, develop, and retain a top-level, talented workforce. Our county and the Ocoee region will succeed in creating the desired growth even in today's very competitive environment if we work together in this public and private collaboration. I want to thank the public sector for their support that assists with economic and community development. I believe we have a few elected officials here. If you please stand. Nancy, Mylan, Luke. Thank you for your help. I also want to thank those community leaders in the private sector for stepping up with significant funding, as well as those who's helped lead this effort. And then I guess my biggest thank you is to my co-chair, Cameron Fisher. I told them when they asked me to take on this role that I'd do it if Cameron would. So I really do appreciate him being by my side, and he's going to he's going to make, I guess, his testimony of why he's involved, and then he's going to thank the campaign leaders. Thank you.
Yeah, we've all got a script up here, and I'll get to it in just a minute. But I'd like to make just a couple of comments. You know, I've been one of the lucky ones to live for most of my life. Moved here my freshman year of high school, and so I attended Cleveland High, and then went to Lee, and then went right into the workplace. And I have seen the value of the Chamber from day one. And what I have found through the years of serving with the Chamber on committees and on the board is that, you know, what you pay in your dues, what your company pays or whatever in your dues covers all the regular stuff, you know, the salaries and things like that. But in the three campaigns that we've already have been mentioned, Compass Campaign, Climate to New Heights, those, what I've found is when I've been sitting in board meetings and we've been talking about some things, we'd really like to do this, well, this is done in the budget. Well, then somebody would pipe in, Gary would pipe in and say, well, you know, we have some Compass Campaign money that could do this. And so that's what this is all about. And the name, Momentum, really fits right because, as somebody already said, I think what Gary said, we got the big mo going for us. And we want to keep that big mo going. So let's keep that in mind. I made mine a little bit bigger so I can read it. So having seen the Chamber facilitate the recruitment of many companies, thousands of new jobs, I recognize how their efforts have helped grow the economy through job creation. Economic growth is a win-win for nonprofits and for profits alike. Direct new jobs lead to increased demands for services, food, housing, cars, and even church-related items. Since I work for the Church of God, I can throw that in. This new demand leads to additional indirect jobs needed in fields such as, you know, hairstylists, fast food workers, and retailers. Every project brought to Bradley County by the Chamber brings in new taxpayers and tax revenues that pay for improved services for everyone. At the same time, substantial new payrolls bring increased charitable investments. More jobs improve the economy for all, and economic development becomes community development, and therefore a great reason to support the campaign. The net effect of the Chamber's efforts is overall community economic prosperity. So we want to give a big shout out to truly special people who are helping with the campaign in order to create economic prosperity. Our honorary campaign co-chairs, they have given of their time, talent, and treasure and provided their very important personal and professional guidance in this, what we call the quiet phase of the campaign. So as I call your name, if you'll stand and hold your applause until they've all been recognized. If they're here, Ron Brom, I saw Ron, there he is raising his hand. Kevin Brooks, Don Lorton, John McIntosh, Mayor Tom Rowland, Dr. William Seymour, and Tom Wheeler. Let's give them all a hand. I also want to recognize our three campaign special task force chairs who took their valuable time and assisted in unique and important campaign tasks along the way. Those would be the Program Refinement Chair, Bob McIntyre. Bob, if you raise his hand. Evaluations Task Force Chair, that's Keith Barrett. Keith, raise your hand, I know you're here. There he is. and our PR Communications Co-Chair, Ralph Baldwin, with the banner. And it's time to turn it back to Mike. Turn the mic back to Mike.
I think me and Gary and Cameron have all Facebook kids now, but it's not smacking over this microphone. Okay, this is the fun part, and we want to thank everyone who has already, and I think the names have been scrolling all night, and they're on the table cards on your tables. But let's just go down the list right now of who is already involved and made commitments. Our founder level, which this is huge. We have two of those at the $100,000 level. The Bowers Automotive Group, that includes Toyota of Cleveland, Honda of Cleveland, Kia Superstore, and Abra Auto Body and Glass. And then also the Owen Corporation. At the platinum level, which is $75,000, we have McKee Foods. At the gold level, at $50,000, we have Denso, Cleveland Exit 20, LLC, First Tennessee Bank, Jones Management Services, LLC, Peyton Southeastern, Southern Heritage Bank, and Wright Brothers Construction. Then at the silver level, we have Bank of Cleveland, Cleveland Ford, Easy Auto, Erlanger Health Systems, McIntyre Associates, Mermaid Mattress, Pinnacle Financial Partners, Santec Waste Services, SunTrust Bank, Tennessee Valley Credit Union, United Community Bank, and yes, there are so many bankers in this room tonight. I'm glad you're all here. And I have taken it on, and the committee can tell you I took it on as a personal challenge to challenge all the banks to step up, and so I appreciate every one of you. Bronze level, Andrew Johnson Bank, another bank. Church of God International Offices, Cleveland Plywood, Homestead Lawn and Tractor, Don Lefford Automotive Center, Lee University, our friend Don Wharton, Smart Bank, another bank, Tennessee Valley Urology Center, Waypoint Financial Partners. Our good friends Ron and Mary Brown are here tonight. Our new mayor, Kevin Brooks, Cleveland Daily Banner, Cornerstone Insurance Group, Lou Patton, Elliott Davis, Southeast Bank, and USA Mortgage. And we also have the Friends of the Campaign, Lewis Group Architects, Gary and Sandy Farlow, Dr. Bill and Catherine Seymour, Arnett, Kirksey, Kimsey, Sullivan, Lay, and Hall. Let's give all those names. Yep. So I have some volunteers. We can go ahead and reveal. Our goal is to be at 50% of the 1.6 million tonight, and so we're going to reveal where we are. That's a lot of numbers. Okay, I hope they count them in order.
Well organized.
Should be upside down. Is everybody ready? Did y'all practice this earlier? No. Okay. Drum roll, please. No. All right, stop. Yeah, go there.
Keep going.
There we go. We raised $1,040,000. Chris, what percentage is that? Chris, what percent is that?
65.
65% of our goal on our ticket. Thank you. I want everybody to, if you haven't met Chris Marshall, if you walk up, if you just step up here beside me. Chris is doing a fantastic job. Most of you have met him. If you have not signed up for the campaign, please set an appointment with Chris. It'll take about 20 minutes. He can tell you all about it, and we appreciate that. And we want to thank the Walker County Walker Valley Band. And we also have a special gift for everyone when you leave tonight. It's a hot and cold water bottle. Make sure to pick that up on your way out. Thank you all for coming. Have some more food and drink.